At the age of 18, I was a rebellious teenager. Did not know TV Uman then, but no one and nothing could reach me. There was no way you could get into my mind and convince me there was a God and that Jesus Christ was who he claimed to be. My girlfriend became a Christian. The last person I wanted to hear about was Jesus Christ. I joined gangs and my life should have been taken many times, should have ended up in prison. But this God of the Bible is a faithful and a real God. I had 3 questions after my girlfriend became a Christian. Number 1, is there a God or is there not? Because if evolution is true and there's no God, I can become my own God, live my own self-centered existence, and indulge myself in all the pleasure this world has to offer. There's no accountability. But through all of my research and investigation, I became convinced that there was a God. My second question was, if there is a God, are there many ways to this God or only one way to this God? You see, does it really matter? Does God really care how we get to know him? Is he some impersonal, cosmic force, or is he a personal being, a deity? And how do I get to know him? And those are the questions I wanted to know, and I discovered that there was only one way to this God. Only one person in history fulfilled the messianic prophecies. Only one book has the archaeological evidence, the scientific validity, the historical accuracy, the prophetic evidence. And I could not deny that reality. I was hitchhiking at the age of 18 out west. And I believed that my life was set up to be killed out there in Santa Fe, New Mexico at 18 years of age, so that I could never give my life to Jesus Christ. Because what my girlfriend said began to challenge me, because I had met a pastor. Well, I'd met a lot of pastors, and I'd asked them deep questions, how could a loving God allow my 7-year-old brother to have his body smashed by a speeding drunk driver? How could my family be traumatized, my mother cry over the casket of my young brother? How could a loving God allow that? Where did dinosaurs come from? Prove to me evolution's not true. I want answers, and most of them backed down in fear and intimidation because I was physically intimidating and because my questions were so intimidating. But I met a pastor, someone like Dr. T.V. Uman, that was not intimidated by the answers and questions of life and began to give me answers biblically, philosophically, scientifically, and it caught my attention. And I hitchhiked across the country, still in rebellion against this God. And I got to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I heard while I was getting a ride with a weightlifting friend of mine heading to Santa Fe, which is about 50 miles north, give or take some. And he said it was going down to 25 degrees, the coldest ever for the month of May. All I had was a short sleeve shirt. They dropped me off, and we were going to freeze to death. There's no doubt there was no way out of our dilemma. We tried to find people that would take us home. No one would help us. They said, listen, we're going to freeze on these streets. Take me home. Let me sleep on your floor. No one would help us. It was inevitable. We both know the inevitable. We were going to freeze to death and die in Santa Fe, New Mexico on that cold May evening. And all of a sudden, down a side street, came a yellow car with 4 long-haired hippies. And in that car was my brother. My brother did not know I was in the state of New Mexico. He had no idea I left Pennsylvania. He had no idea I was in the city of Santa Fe on a side little street about to freeze to death. And God used him to change my life. I went back to Pennsylvania. My girlfriend told me about Jesus, and I said, no. Christianity is for weak-kneed sissies. I don't need Jesus Christ. But she said, please come. And I heard an evangelist talking about knowing God in a real way. I heard him talking about evidence that once again rekindled what that pastor had shared, someone like Dr. Uman. And I walked down and said, God, if you are real, I will live my life for you. But if you're not, I never want to hear your name again. He changed my life. He took a person who was totally committed to weightlifting as a weightlifting instructor and made me totally committed to him. He took a person who was very deeply involved in the martial arts and taught me to walk in submission to him. He took a person who was a victim of peer pressure and gave me courage to go into the jungles and the bush and risk my life for this name of Jesus Christ. He took a person who was out of control in every aspect of my life, and he brought every area of my life under control. He took a person who was stiff-necked and rebellious, and taught me to submit, and that he could lead and direct and guide my life. I've seen over 100 miracles this God has done. My life should have been taken over 25 times. This God has taken me, who was voted least likely to succeed in high school, and raised up an international outreach challenging believers to reach their maximum potential in Jesus Christ. He's taken me to over 25 countries. Our books are in 100 different countries. He's had me lectures in places. I was just at General Pershing's headquarters in the Argonne Forest. I was just ministering up in Pinehurst to generals and colonels and people from all different facets of life. Only God can transform a life like that. He took a person who was hitchhiking across the country in rebellion against this God, and now he sends me around the world proclaiming his truth. But had it not been for people like Dr. Uman, people that had the courage and strength to stand up and give evidence for the veracity of the Bible and Jesus Christ, I would have blown them up. I would have spit in their face like I did with many other people that did not have answers. But thank God for Dr. Uman and many of you here, because you convince people of the evidence and veracity of Jesus Christ and the Bible.